we're going to live a life imprisoned to other people's opinion, and that is not the best way to live a life. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be approved and belong to a community. You know what? Not everyone is gonna like me. I'm not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. And I don't want to live my life in a way where it's just going to be so limited and restricted just because of the way people think of me. One of the things that can stop us from going after what we really want is caring way too much about what people think. Now, why do we care so much about what people think? Well, it's within our very own human nature. We are social creatures. We want to get that feeling of belonging. We want to be accepted. We want to feel that bond and connection with people. And that's why we care what other people think. Now, before, evolutionary speaking, humans needed to be accepted in tribes. They needed to make that friendship and social connection so that they can fight off predators and be safe, because it was a lot more dangerous environment back then. But we don't need that as much now. We don't need that social acceptance as much as before. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean let's all go be mean to people and not care about people's feelings and hurt people. I think if we live in a society where people completely don't care about what people think, it may be dangerous. People are just going to do whatever they want. So to a certain degree, yes, we do need to care about what people think so that we have a healthy and safe society to live in. But when it gets to the point where we are changing our identity, when we are changing our beliefs to please other people, when we are changing what we value because we want to be accepted, that's when it becomes unhealthy. When we start doing things to please people, when we're not being true to who we really are. And that's why I feel really passionate about this topic, because growing up, I was brought up in quite a strict environment where there was so much emphasis put on what other people are gonna think about me. And this stopped me from doing so many things, from the way I dressed, from where I lived and the jobs I took, because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be approved and belong to a community, but really and truly, I wasn't living a life true to myself. One of the worst things for me would be to look back in life and to realize that full of regrets, not living a life true to how I wanted it, but living a life because of what people thought of me and being scared about judgment. At the end of the day, it is us who has to live our life. No one else is going to live it for us. And we are going to live with the consequence of the choices that we make in our life. That's why it's important we live a life true to ourselves. So how do we stop caring about what people think? Well, first of all, we need to realize that people are actually not thinking of us as much as we think they are. Majority of people are thinking about themselves most of the time. If you think about it, how often are you thinking about other people? Probably not that often. So the same way, I know unconsciously we can think that people are thinking of us, that the focus is on us when we're doing something, but actually everyone is consumed in their own world, what they need to eat, how they need to survive, everything that they need to do. Just the way we are, most of the time, we are living in our own life, in our own head, living up in our own body. We think about ourselves most of the time during the course of the day, and that's exactly the same for other people. And that's quite liberating to know, because it means we don't have to care so much about what people think as much as we think. So we can just, go and do the things we want to and not feel that people are always judging us. The second thing is to realize that what people think of us is none of our business. Everyone is brought up in a different way. Everyone will be brought up with different perspective, different values, what they believe. The way people see things is completely different. So from the way one person sees things is completely different to how another person will see that same thing. So people have different perspective on things, and we cannot control the way other people see things. So the way other people see us is actually out of our control. So for example, I used to work with a work colleague, and she was quite miserable, and it was very difficult for me to work with her. I'm quite an upbeat, positive person, and she's quite miserable and grumpy. So the way we saw the same thing, it was something happening during that day, she used to see it in a very negative way, whereas I used to see it completely different to her. And we're looking at the same thing, and that's just the example to show you that two people can see something completely different, and that's okay, because it all depends on the background, where we have come from, everything that we've been taught, the experiences, all of these things that shape us. And we cannot control how other people think, and that's why we just need to let that go. Anytime that people upset us with their opinions or their views, we just need to remember that it's none of our business. We cannot change the way they think. I know before, as an ex-people pleaser, I used to get really upset, trying to please people when people used to not approve of me or not show me signs that they are happy with me. We're going to live a life imprisoned to other people's opinion, and that is not the best way to live a life. The third thing is to accept that we don't have to be liked by everyone, and that's okay. This was really hard for me to grasp, but I needed to accept that, you know what? Not everyone is gonna like me. I'm not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. If we think about it, we don't like everyone out there. We have preferences. We have a preference for TV shows, for example, or we have a particular preference for a chocolate bar that we like more than another one. It's just the same way, where everyone has their own preferences. Some people are gonna like something more than the others, and not everything's gonna be for everyone. And I feel like the sooner we can accept that, the fact that not everyone is gonna like us, then the less we will fall into the people-pleasing mentality and not being true to who we are, because we fear being judged and not being liked and accepted by people, which can be crippling for a lot of us. I love this quote that says, when you are 20, you care about what everyone thinks. When you are 40, you stop caring about what people think. When you are 60, you realize that no one was actually thinking about you. And I think the sooner we can get to that mentality where we can realize that actually people are not thinking about us as much as we think they are, and not let that stop us from going and living our life and fearing judgment and being accepted by people, then the better it will be for us to live a life that is more true to us, that's freeing. Because I think living a life that's free that is a beautiful way to live a life, when we're not doing things because of what other people expect of us, but we're doing it because that's who we are. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this topic, and if you've got any points to contribute, I'd love to hear from you. I used to care so much about what people thought. This was ingrained in me as a child, and it's been a journey to come to a point, from working in difficult work situations and many other circumstances that had made me realize that I really cannot control how people think of me or how people view me, and I don't want to live my life in a way where it's just going to be so limited and restricted just because of the way people think of me, because I want them to accept me. I hope you found value in this video. Let me know, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, bye.